Hello everyone. Tonight we are unboxing the OnePlus 2. It just arrived via DHL today, and it was here in 3 days, which I think is very remarkable. It came from Shenzhen in China in literally 3 days. Once I received the invitation, I placed the order online, and here it is today. I am ironically shooting this video on a OnePlus 1, which is quite funny. So let's find out how they compare. The box is very similar to the original OnePlus 1 box in that it's relatively simple. It's really no fuss, no nonsense, just the basics. There's the phone. It's the first time I'm seeing it and holding it as well. It feels quite a bit heavier than the OnePlus 1. It's a little bit thicker too, especially in the middle. It's not quite as flat as the OnePlus 1. I assume the heft has a lot to do with the materials. The OnePlus 2 is made primarily of metal, whereas the OnePlus 1 has a plastic body. Size-wise, it feels about the same. It does feel like it's maybe just a little bit longer. The screen is supposed to be slightly larger, but I can't really tell just by looking at it. The back is reminiscent of the back of the OnePlus 1. It's got the same texture. It's got this really grippy plastic cover on the back. As you may know, the cover is replaceable. You can probably just remove it right here, and then they have all these pop-in covers made of leather and wood and Kevlar and whatnot. I just couldn't be bothered. It's probably gonna go into a protective case either way, so I stuck with the default plastic cover. All right. Otherwise, physically, the biggest difference is of course the physical button, which doesn't exist on the OnePlus 1. It's all soft buttons, and it also has a built-in fingerprint reader in this button, which is a nice touch. I'm gonna look forward towards trying that because I hate putting pin numbers and things of that nature into a phone. The USB port is non-standard in the sense that, well, I guess it's the new standard. It's the USB Type-C, the new USB port, which is reversible. You can plug it in either way and it'll work. The physical buttons have changed as well. On the OnePlus 1, the power button is on the right, and then the volume rocker is on the other side. As you can probably tell here, the power button and the volume rocker are both on the same side, and then on the other side is a sort of a snooze button similar to the iPhone, where you can change the phone, put the phone in silent mode just by flipping this physical switch. Obviously, there's a front-facing camera, no surprise there, and there's a flash and camera on the other side. I'm not entirely sure what sensor this is. I think it's the laser rangefinder. I believe this new camera has laser autofocus, which is kind of cool. I'm going to look forward towards trying that. All right, let's turn it on and see if it powers up. Normally, the batteries are charged even either a little bit. The new OnePlus, the OnePlus 2, is no longer powered by cyanogen. It's powered by the new Oxygen OS operating system from OnePlus. All right, typical Android startup screen here. I'm not going to bother with the SIM card just yet. As I'm playing with this, by the way, I thought the button down here was a physical button, but it's actually the same kind of touch-sensitive button that you had on the OnePlus 1. So in other words, you can't actually push it down. It's just a capacitive button, but it does have an indentation. It just looks like a button. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to temporarily pause the video, use two-factor authentication to log in, and then I'll return. And we're back. I'm logged in now. This is a nice feature that I haven't seen in previous versions of Android. It prompts me to automatically restore all applications and data that I had installed on my OnePlus One, so I'm definitely going to do that. It prompts me to set a lock screen. I'm probably going to skip this step for now, come back to it later. And there's a lot of legalese here that you have to walk your way through. And now I guess it's downloading all of my previous information and apps and whatnot. So this is pretty neat. I've been waiting for this for a long time because every time I switch to a new phone, which actually happens quite frequently, I have to resort to reinstalling all sorts of applications and whatnot, which I'd rather not have to do. So I hope this is as seamless an experience as it appears to be. It's probably going to take a while, and I assume it's quite boring, so I'll pause one more time and return when it's complete. Well, actually, it took a lot less time than I expected, so here we go. There's I'm walking through the setup screens now. I'm familiar with them as well. This is new to me. I'm not entirely sure what to expect from screen to screen, so forgive me if I pause from time to time just to read what it says. I would definitely prefer to use hardware buttons, so I'll skip that. Double tap to wake is a feature that I love having on the OnePlus One, so I'm definitely going to keep that. Launching the camera, drawing an O, that is another awesome feature, and the flashlights. I'll definitely keep all of these. These were features introduced in Cyanogen that were available on the OnePlus One, which I've learned to, well, I can't live without anymore. Music control, I don't particularly care about, so I'm just going to skip that for now. I'm actually partial to swipe myself. But just for the heck of it, I'm going to choose SwiftKey here to check it out. Shelf, I'm not familiar with, so let's see what this says. Alright, well, swiping to the right from the home screen. I guess we'll try that out and see how it works. Alright, setup is complete. And it looks like we're in. I don't particularly care about personalizing anything else. It looks like my email's already coming in. That's neat. All my apps, I assume, are going to start downloading now that it's online and logged into my account and whatnot. So overall, it seems like a pretty stock Android experience, which is absolutely what I'm interested in. I don't particularly care about any of the bloat that comes with many of the other phones you see. Home button, menu button. The menu button changed positions, by the way. It used to be on the left on the OnePlus One. It looks like it moved to the right. I wouldn't be surprised if that's configurable because they're soft buttons either way. I am curious to see how the fingerprint recognition works, so I'm going to try that out now. Let's see if I can figure out how that works. There we go. Fingerprint. Alright, add a fingerprint. Let's try that. Okay. Let's try it again. I guess you have to do it repeatedly until it understands what the pattern is. That's actually a surprisingly lengthy process. All the other systems that I've used only require you to read the fingerprint a couple of times. This looks like it wants several attempts. And it looks like I just had to restart it. Okay. It would be helpful if this actually confirmed that, well, I guess it vibrates when you put your finger on it. So you kind of know that it read it correctly, but it would be nice to know that I'm doing it at the right pace and everything. this is getting a little tedious. And hopefully we're done now. All right, finish. Okay. Sure, why not? So I guess I'll put a pin number in as well. Obviously, I'll take this out of view for now. Okay. It's prompting me what to show on screen when the device is locked. Well, I'm not sure how it determines when notifications are sensitive or not, so let's just do that for the time being. All right, enable fingerprint unlock. Okay. Very well. And I think we're done, I assume. So let's see what happens if I lock the screen, double tap to wake, and then that seems to work quite well, actually. I'm impressed. That was really quick and easy. Let's try it one more time. So if I just touch it, that unlocks it too. That's neat. I thought you had to just you had to first unlock the screen and then use the fingerprint, but that seems to be working even from a locked screen. All you have to do is touch the fingerprint reader and you're in. I'm actually quite pleased with how well that works. All right, time to play with the camera for a little bit. I didn't particularly care for the camera in the OnePlus One. It turned out that the camera was actually quite good, or is quite good. I'm shooting this video on it. The problem is the software. The software itself was never particularly great. So I did download several third-party camera apps that seemed to do much better than what came with the Android app. I'm not entirely sure what to expect. I'll have to take some outdoor photos tomorrow when there's daylight outside. Right now it's dark. It might actually be interesting to take some photos in the dark too and see how the camera performs. But for the time being, why don't we just try a small trinket here and see what it looks like for macro photos. And that's actually quite good from what I can tell, at least right now, without playing too much with the settings. HDR is definitely one of my favorite features of modern cameras. That was actually significantly quicker than what I experienced on the OnePlus. So taking HDR photos on the OnePlus One usually means there's a 2 to 3 second delay, maybe even longer, after taking the photo while it's being processed. This seems to be working much quicker. So that's a plus for sure. Clear image, I'm not entirely sure what that means. That's what I just took there. It took longer to process than the HDR image, which is somewhat surprising to me. But again, not really knowing what that does, I guess I'll have to read up on that. But other than that, it seems to be a typical camera experience. Nothing fancy, nothing unusual. I would be curious about some of the other modes that are supported. So let's see what else we get here. Not a lot of options, if you ask me. I'm sure there are other ways. There we go. Slow motion. Okay, I'm probably familiar with that. Time lapse, I don't know what that does. Well, I'll probably have to play around, and I'll check in later and report on the performance of the camera in various lighting conditions, and also what the different features are that might be new. But the laser focus does seem to be working as I would expect it. I don't really see right now the fundamental difference from other autofocus systems. It is supposed to be quicker, so again, something I'm gonna have to report on later on. But that would be it for now. This is the OnePlus 2, first time unboxing, first time I see it, and it does seem like a very nicely built phone. I do like it so far from what I can tell. It's quite quick, especially in camera operation, which is something I care about in particular. And overall, quite